inaugural Language, Linguistics and Literature Distinguished Alumni Award in the discipline of Literatures in English. Henry Morton was one of the 3 alumni who copped the award for Language, Linguistics and Literature. Her sterling and outstanding service in the field of education and later in the tourism sector was applauded by the UWI, and the retired educator says her professional life has been characterized by servant leadership, first working in the teaching profession for over 33 years, culminating as principal of the Bastia High School, BHS. While serving at the BHS, she became involved in teacher trade unionism and went on to serve with distinction as the General Secretary of the St. Kitts Teachers Union for over 20 consecutive years, working with at least 3 presidents of that august body to be a voice for teachers and an advocate for best practices in the education sector. Henry Morton added that throughout her work life, she adopted a team approach in the way she managed and led the various organizations in which she served. In 2015, she was promoted to the position of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. Under her watch, the ministry focused on developing a sustainable tourism product, ensuring that people, planet, and profit were embedded in everything our country did. The government of St. Christopher and Nevis, through its Ministry of Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, will host the annual National Day of Prayer on Friday, 28th February. This year's observance, under the theme Evangelize in 2025, Preaching, Teaching, Sharing the Gospel through the Word of God, aims to unite the nation in prayer and spiritual reflection. Prayers will be held across both islands, involving schools, churches, and community members. Local radio stations will also join in, broadcasting continuous prayer sessions every half hour to ensure the entire nation is connected in spiritual harmony. Central prayer stations will be set up at the Pentecostal Church of God on Boone Avenue in St. Kitts and the New Testament Church in Bath Village, Nevis. In St. Kitts, there will be 6 main prayer stations where prayers will be held every 30 minutes from 8 in the morning to 6 in the evening. These stations include 4th Street, Independence Square, Industrial Site, West Side Bus Station or Ferry Terminal, Baker's Corner, and the St. Peter's Bus Stop at College Street Gut. Over in Nevis, the schedule will include sessions at the War Memorial in Charlestown at 9 in the morning, followed by prayers at the Uwali Water Taxi Facility at 10 in the morning. Midday prayers will be held at the Charlestown Ferry Terminal and Best Buy in Gingerland, with the final session at the Cotton Ground Bus Stop at 3 in the afternoon. The day will conclude with a National Church service at 7 in the evening, held at both central prayer stations, the Pentecostal Church of God in St. Kitts and the New Testament Church in Nevis. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, is advising that the Grenada $50 banknote is legal tender and can be used for any standard over-the-counter business transactions across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU. The ECCB collaborated with the government of Grenada to issue the banknote in July 2024 to commemorate Grenada's 50th independence anniversary. While the note was issued exclusively in Grenada, it can be used in any of the 8 ECCB member countries: Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Christopher and Nevis, St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Grenada $50 banknote is printed on a polymer and is the same size and includes similar security features as the current banknotes in circulation. The note depicts portraits of former Prime Ministers, Sir Eric Matthew Gary and Maurice Bishop, and pays homage to their pivotal roles in Grenada's history. This banknote is also narrates Grenada's story through its influential figures, culture, and landmarks. Regionally, A massive state-of-the-art resort set to be built in Barbados later this year will create an estimated 3,500 jobs, marking what backers are calling the largest investment ever made in the country's tourism sector. The new development under the Sandals Beaches family brand will be constructed on the site of the former Haywood Hotel Resort and Ammon Resort. Adam Stewart, executive chairman of Sandals Resorts and Beaches Resorts, revealed that around 1,700 jobs will be created during the construction phase, with an additional 1,800 permanent staff positions available once the resort is completed. Stewart made the announcement during the 48th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the CARICOM community at Wyndham Grand Resort, Sam Lord's Castle. The project, which is expected to take about 2.5 years to complete, will be Sandals' third hotel in Barbados. Sandals Barbados currently employs 1,450 permanent staff, while Sandals Royal Barbados employs about 600 workers. The Jamaican legal community is in mourning following the passing of veteran attorney-at-law King's Counsel Valerie Nita Robertson. The distinguished lawyer, known for her sharp wit and formidable presence in high-profile criminal trials, died on Monday at the age of 71. Nita Robertson's family confirmed her passing in a statement on Monday afternoon, expressing deep sorrow over their loss. It is with great sadness that the Nita Robertson family announces the untimely passing of Miss Valerie Nita Robertson Casey, attorney-at-law. One of her last major cases saw her representing Vybz Kartel and his then co-convicts when they were granted leave in March 2017 to appeal their convictions and sentence at least at the Jamaican Court of Appeal. Nita Robinson also represented convicted ex-juror Livingston Kane, who attempted to bribe the jury foreman in the Vybz Kartel murder trial. Beyond her contributions to the legal fraternity, Nita Robinson was passionate about mentorship, guiding many young attorneys throughout their careers. She was also a proud alumna of the Woolmer High School for Girls and remained closely involved with the school's community. On the international scene, the U.S. has twice sided with Russia in votes at the United Nations to mark the third anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, highlighting the Trump administration's change of stance on the war. First, the U.S. opposed the European drafted resolution condemning Moscow's actions and supporting Ukraine's territorial integrity, voting the same way as Russia and the countries including North Korea and Belarus at the UN General Assembly in New York. Then the U.S. drafted and voted for a resolution at the UN Security Council which called for an end to the conflict but contained no criticism of Russia. The Security Council passed the resolution, but two key U.S. allies, the UK and France, abstained after their attempts to amend the wording were vetoed. And while Pope Francis remains in a critical condition with the Vatican said on Tuesday that he has had a good night's sleep and is slightly improved. In its most upbeat bulletin in days, it said he has resumed work from his hospital room, calling a parish in Gaza City that he has kept in touch with since the war there began. Well-wishers have left candles and photos outside Rome's Gemelli Hospital, where the 88-year-old Catholic Church leader was admitted on February 14. He was experiencing breathing difficulties and bronchitis, but his condition has since worsened. Doctors for the Argentinian Pope, who had part of one lung removed as a young man, have declined to decide on a prognosis, given the complexity of the clinical picture. The Vatican said, however, that he hasn't had any more respiratory crises since Saturday, and the flow and the concentration of supplemental oxygen has been slightly reduced. The Vatican has set in motion a nightly marathon of prayer with hundreds of faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square on Monday evening as cardinals recited prayers for Francis. And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy. Winds are moderate from the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour. The temperature is 25 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather forecast for today predicts partly sunny skies in general. Tonight is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a 40% or moderate chance of brief passing overnight showers. Sunset today will be 6:17. Sunrise tomorrow will be at about 6:31 in the morning. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. Grace be to you and peace be multiplied.